Hey, hello everybody. Hi, Corey. This
Hi.
is this is Business Inspiration with Dana Morgan Barnes, Coach Dana Inspires, and today our special guest is Corey Murphy, and he is the Aloha Money Machine. And we are so excited, Corey, that you are here today, and you're going to be sharing some insights with us. So, welcome. How are you doing?
Aloha, Dana. I'm doing really well. I'm really excited to be on here today. I know we've been talking about this for a little bit, so excited to talk about this new norm.
Oh yeah, yeah. New norm. And I don't. No offense to those of us who use new norm. I kind of like the new reality. I like saying new reality because I
Yeah,
don't know what normal really is anymore. I just don't even know. Just what the heck? Here we
yeah.
are.
It's
So
different. It's what it is.
today, yeah, it's completely different than what it used to be, and it's not going to be. I've heard so many people say it's never going to get back there, and I'm not sure that's a bad thing. You know, um, so since we're talking about COVID-19 and the situation we're in, um, what do you see happening in business? We've kind of gone through that honeymoon stage of this will only last 2 months or 3 months, and now we're kind of into chugging along with lots of Zoom, a little bit of meeting in person, and a little bit of travel, but not a whole lot. What do you see going on in the business world?
Well, as everyone can tell, that the business has changed. Commerce has changed. More and more people are going to be doing business online, and how your presence is online is going to make a big difference. Video is not going away. Um, Websites and social media, it's not going away. So you better get good at it, and you better accept this, because the people who are able to adapt, they'll be the front runners in this.
Absolutely, I think so too. Right, and we're definitely going to be talking today about our highest and best use of our time, and I think that's a really important topic today because so many of us are, and I don't like the word stuck, but we have been relegated to home offices when we're not necessarily used to being in a home office. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, small business owner, being at home is not that unusual. Both you and I have worked from home for a long time. So this is not unusual, but what is unusual is we can't necessarily go out as much. So um, I think it's an interesting topic to talk about is how do we use our time in the best way that helps us the best. And so what can we do as business owners? What can we do as entrepreneurs that's really going to help us out? What should we be really focusing on?
Yeah, and that's such an important question with more and more people working from home. There's so many distractions. One of the big distractions is the refrigerator. As soon as you get that kind of down moment, you go to the refrigerator, you get something to eat, and then you get something more to eat. There's always distractions and emails. Oh my gosh, the biggest distraction, the emails. So it's really important to use your highest and best use of time. I talk about this all the time. I think about this all the time. Actually, my book called The Aloha Money Machine, it's about a man who was my great grandfather, and he actually came over to Hawaii, and he was dead broke, didn't have a penny to his name. He had his wife and his two kids. He was poor as you can get, and he started working in a dealership. He became manager of the dealership, and then he became GM of the dealership, and then he started his own dealership. Long story short, he actually had the largest GM dealership, General Motors dealership in the world, and it was in Honolulu, Hawaii, and he started dead broke.
Wow.
And one of the things, you don't have to read the book, I'll just tell you the secret. One of the secrets is having the really paying attention to the highest and best use of time. For him, he did a lot of different aspects of business. When you're a salesperson, your highest and best use of time is a little different than if you're a multi-millionaire controlling, 50 plus companies. So it all depends on where you are and kind of where you can excel in the highest use of your time in that particular where you are. So it's really important to figure out where you are first. it all matters, what you do and where you are at. So I suggest that, if you're a business owner and
Hmm.
you're just starting, really the highest and best use of your time is making money. So where does your
Make
clients
money.
come from? Where do you market? Who are the people that are buying? And then you need to really spend time with those people. You need to get in front of them. You need to talk to them. There's no substitute to talking to your potential clients. So I really think that if you're in business, you have to figure out who's buying your products, and you have to talk to them on a daily basis. And that's one area that you could really use your highest and best use of time, and guard that time, protect that time, because it's so important. That's your livelihood. You have to know where your money comes from. You have to guard that time. You have to do that. And with that time, you can't look at emails. You can't go to the refrigerator. You can't, do all the million other things that come up. You got to really guard that time, because that is going to generate your success. It's going to grow your company, which is really
Right.
important. And as you grow, you'll see that your responsibilities change. When my rich grandfather, that's who I call him in the book, he, once he had his initial business, he grew his business, then his obligation was to manage his team. And so he put a lot of time and energy into managing his team, developing the system. Systems are so important, because if you have a system, you write it down, this is how you contact the customer, this is how you market, and you're able to give that system to an employee, then it shortens the learning curve. So it all depends on where you are in business and where you delegate your time. When my grandfather became 500 million, I think he was worth about 500 million at his height. He had a Lear jet before anybody else had Lear jets. He was doing business in Asia and Australia when no one else was doing business in those areas. Now it's like
Wow.
common, but before it was all new. But his main focus when he was at that level was in getting in front of people who were interested in buying and selling businesses, and people who had the money and financing to acquire businesses. And so that was his highest and best use of time, was getting in front of those people.
Right.
So it changes, but I think it's really important. We're all connected, right? I think we're more alike than different. And I think that you have to spend time with the people who are buying your products, who are going to excel your business. So that's one thing that I want just to share with everyone today, is that you got to guard that time.
Right. And now that we're not traveling as much, some people are traveling a little bit, but we're not going anywhere like we used to go. And so it's really important to, as you say, get in front of those people. And what's the way that you get in front of those people?
So there's a few different aspects. The phone is really good for me. I really like the phone. I like to call certain leads and just chat. And it's not really selling. It's more just explaining yourself, and the rebuttals too are very important. So being prepared, if they ask you about, commissions, you have to be prepared. And if you're prepared, you can get through it quickly and intelligently. And I think that makes a difference. If you're online and you like shooting video, then you have to post your video, and you have to advertise your video to the people who are interested in your subject or your product. I think it really matters on what you feel comfortable with, and going forward and getting in front of those key people and finding out where they are. I think that's really important.
Yeah, locating your clients. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the best way. One of my friends, she has her own business, and the best way for her business model is to sell online. Is
Hmm.
to get, let's say, on Facebook Live, every day or every couple days, saying something about her business. And she's so frightened. The poor little thing, she gets on and she's almost frozen. And what do I do? I hate it. And I go, you just got to do it and do
Right.
it and do it.
Right. Consistency. And that's where a lot of business owners, they fail. They're good at that initial start. They go to a conference or they talk to somebody and they're all excited, and then they just stop. You know, consistency is so important. So, you know, making those calls, one day, you know, blocking an hour of time to make those calls, and dropping the ball the next day and not making those calls, it's going to affect you. I mean, it all adds up. So you need to really figure out
Yeah.
where you excel, where you feel comfortable, and just go for it. You know,
Yeah.
your friend, she just has to be consistent. Maybe write out something that she wants to talk about, and and just talk about it and commit to 20 minutes or whatever, and then turn it off and then do it again tomorrow.
Yeah. And I think people, uh, I know someone specifically who they have notes. So I have notes, believe it or not. Ta-da, I have notes because I want to remember to ask you questions that really are important. But people don't, I could put these notes right here in front of the screen. Now, I may not be able to see you, but I can look down at my notes and you don't really notice that I'm looking down at my notes and talking. And you don't know that I have notes up there because you don't see the piece of paper. And people forget that they can put their piece of paper right there over the screen and nobody would really know it. And it's okay. I would love to, I'd like to see your face. I'd like to see your reaction to what I'm saying.
Right.
But doggone it, if that's what it takes to get comfortable, do it. Figure out how to
Exactly.
look at the camera. Figure out how to,
Exactly.
it takes practice, and you need to talk to people who do it and get their advice. Also, I think that's important.
Exactly. I believe everything could be learned. You just have to be consistent at it, and you maybe got to get some guidance in the beginning, and then just do it. Just do it. And the beauty with video is that you can get on there and just ramble. You know, and you talk about nothing, and no one's going to say anything about it because you have total control. And I think that that's what you need to do in the beginning is you have to be okay with failing, and you have to be okay with not being perfect, and just get it out there. I know when I wrote my book, The Aloha Money Machine, my editor said, just get it out there, just get the book out there. And I took a lot more time than I probably should have. And I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted to be the logo, everything. I should have just got it out there. And I wasted a good amount of time. So I would just encourage, just if you're excited about video, or if you're excited about certain way of business, then you just got to get out there and be okay with not being perfect.
Right, right. And um, I did a whole series of videos um, about being kind because my book, You Have the Power of Kindness, and I wanted to say you can add kindness to your business, and and so I just did a whole series of videos, not live, so that I could edit them. I got really good at editing, and I know how to put titles and the thing at the end and the happiness in the middle. I know how to do all that now, but it was a struggle. So
Mhm.
I had to get good at doing those videos. Then I had to get good at editing and snazzing them up, and then starting posting them. It was like, oh, I feel comfortable now. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's doing it. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I do need to ask you this question here, and I think it's kind of an important one for these times. What does when you think about your life, your day, your business, what does success look like to you? What is
Ah,
success?
yeah, I love that question. I think a lot about this question. What does success? I know when I was just a little tot, about 6 years old, I struggled in school, and I was diagnosed with having a learning disability, and a lot of people said I wouldn't be much, you know, and your dreams of being successful maybe for somebody else. So I really thought about, well, what is success? And for a long time, for me, I always thought that success was making money. And in the book, I talk about my rich grandfather, and his whole goal was to make as much money as he could. And that's what he did. And he was really good at it. But when he died, sorry about that. But when he actually died a poor man, and he didn't have a legacy. And the reason why is that I think that he doesn't really know exactly what the definition of true success is. To me, true success is having cash flow and time to enjoy it. I think that that is the true definition of success. because if you're working all the time and you don't have that freedom to spend time with your loved ones, your kids, um, doing the things that you love to do, then what's the point? What's the point? We're only here for a certain amount of time. So I really believe that if you have cash flow, that steady cash flow, and time to enjoy it, that is the ultimate success.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think um, sometimes we might have a little what's not a windfall because that sounds like it just happened, but you worked really hard, you got lots of clients, and your books are selling, and you get to go out and speak or whatever someone's business might be. They're being it's quite successful. Woo! And then you forget that you need to keep putting yourself out there because eventually all that will come to a screeching halt and then you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the cash flow thing is quite important. Yeah.
Right, right. And it comes down to that highest and best use of time. You need to figure out how to make that consistent income. I mean, I think that's just so important. People need to think that on a daily basis. I also think that people need to take it one step further if they have a business, and they need to think of the business as being a sellable asset. I know that is difficult for a lot of people to think
Hmm.
because they say, why would I sell my business? Because this is my livelihood. This is where I make my money. But I really believe that if you have that intention of building a business that you could sell, even if you have no intention of selling it, it really makes every decision easier. And if you can have that mind frame that you have to delegate some of the work, you have to teach your sales process to others. You have to scale your business. If you're in that mindset, you create a business that can be sold and a business that is sellable. And I think that's so important for the person that's just starting out their business and the person that's been in business, 20 years. I think you always have to remember that building a business should be a daily process. And I think that's it's important to keep that in your mind, that's one thing that you need to focus on. And if you focus on having that intention of building a business that it can be sold, every decision is going to be easier. And that highest and best use of time um, is more straightforward. It's easier to find versus than just going through your daily life and just trying to make money. So
Right.
it should be a bigger goal. You should see what the end looks like.
Right. And I think I never this little book here, Aloha Money Machine by Corey Murphy, by the way, no plugs here. Um, I, I think I never really thought of my business. Why would anyone want to? I mean, if you want to coach, you go coach. You don't want my business. But this sort of helped me kind of think of it in a different way. And like you said, even though I may never have an intention of selling my business or selling my client list or whatever that might be, um, I like the idea of thinking about it in that way because maybe someone might. And am I making decisions? Because if someone is interested in buying my business, then it's a successful business and it's a growing business. So what are the decisions I'm making? And I think you're right when you say you make different decisions when you think about it in that way.
Mm-hmm,
That you
mm-hmm.
want to, if you're thinking of selling your business, I think you're thinking more about working than going to the fridge.
Right, right,
you know?
right, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a lot of businesses that simply can't be sold. Coaching, um, consultant, real estate agents. Those are businesses that are very hard to sell. But I think that you need to keep that mind frame open and see other maybe opportunities. How do you get that consistent cash flow? Because that's really, again, that's the key, right? The key to success is getting that consistent cash flow and time to enjoy it. So what's other ways that you can delegate or you can invest in that will give you that consistent cash flow so you can spend time doing the things that you love, helping out people, spend time with your family, going surfing if you're me, you know there's you got to have that time. You got to have that time, but cash flow is the key. So, for as far as real estate agents, real estate agents have a hard time selling their business, but they can invest in real estate. They can invest in things that they know. My grandfather, he was in cars, and he would always say, "Pick a lane," you know, do something that you know about, do something that you're good about. And he sold Chevys too, and he said, if you sell Chevys, you should drive a Chevy. So do what you know. Get involved in things that you understand and that can drive that cash flow, that consistent
Right.
cash flow.
Right. I love that. If you sell Chevys, you better drive a Chevy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so I wrote that book, You Have the Power of Kindness. And I'll be doggone, it puts a lot of pressure on me to be kind all the time.
Right. Right.
I'm sitting there going, I really want to rip this person's head off, but I wrote a book about kindness, so now I'm doggone it, I got to be kind.
Right.
But it does, I always try my best in situations, instead of being angry, instead of snapping at somebody, I always try to think, what's going on for that person. And, but I'm not perfect. So sometimes I do go off the deep end. Whew. But it does, if you're constantly thinking about your business and how it can grow, it does change your mindset. And just like, now I have to be kind all the time. Oh,
Right.
what
Right.
a burden. But if you're thinking about how are you growing your business and why you want to grow your business, I think your mindset is really going to change. And I
Yeah.
like that idea.
Yeah.
I like
And,
it.
and another important point is that if you have that mindset and you focus on what's your highest and best use of time, is that you could do a lot in a day. You can accomplish so much. There's people out there that barely get off the couch and maybe send an email and they're like, oh my gosh, what a long day. How do those people um, how do those people think that someone that has a multi-million dollar business that has 50 businesses that they're responsible for, how do they see them striving and being successful? It comes down to that highest and best use of time, is figuring out where your highest and best use of time is, guarding that time and just focusing on that. And then everything else, do it later, but focus on your time. If you want to develop a real estate, buy and hold, rental, investment, you got to focus your time on looking for property. If you want to build a business and be successful in the beginning, you have to focus on who's going to buy that product. The videos are great. The Instagram, all that is really great, but it's not going to make you money. And that's the main thing, is that you got to figure out how are you going to make money and get in front of those people. And it's probably going to be uncomfortable, but that's just what you got to do. When you're a startup, you got to get in front of people that are going to pay for your service or product.
Right, right. And I think that's a really good point. Even if you're uncomfortable, because you might be the best coach in the whole doggone world, but if you can't talk to someone so that they even know what you do, then how are you going to get them to be your client and then get them to pay you so you have this cash flow?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and when you were talking about your book, you wanted it to be perfect. Well, done is better than perfect. I've heard that over and over again.
Yeah.
And I think it's so true that, okay, so maybe I think your book's pretty doggone good. So yeah, I'm not sure you need a rewrite, but on your next book, more things that you would do to make it closer to what you're thinking is perfection. And I think all of us, as we're entrepreneurs and business owners, we need to think about just making that step,
Right.
even though it's scary. Do you have? We're wrapping it up here, Corey, also known as Murph. I love that because you surf, Murph who surfs. Okay, there you go. So any last little 30-second nugget you want to toss out? Do you have anything on your mind?
Yeah. So every morning I have a routine that I encourage. If you don't have a routine in the morning, you should get it, because it just sets your day. My routine is I wake up, I do a little stretching, I read, And another thing that I do is I journal, and it's called a daily journal, and I created it. It's basically, it's what's your day look like, and then you can block that time, that highest and best use of time of talking to those people. You got to do that. And where is that? Where does that work? Where is that time? And so what I do every morning is I plan my day. I guard that time. I also, what's my intention of the day? Who do I want to? What's my quote for the day? Who do I want to be for that day? And I set it. I set it in the morning, and then it helps me throughout the day. I created a daily journal, and if you're interested, if anybody is interested, any of the listeners, I'm happy to send that to you for free. You can email me at murphspeaks@gmail.com, or you can go to Aloha Money Machine, the Aloha Money Machine on Facebook, and I can send you that PDF. So happy to do that. I think it's really important.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. Thank you. Gosh, Corey, that's wonderful. So everybody, if you're interested, just email him. Here he is, murphspeaks@gmail.com. If you want to talk about, the things he was talking about today, you want to talk about the book and what's all in it, this is available on Amazon. Am I correct there, Corey?
Yes. Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Probably should have asked that before I said it. Anyway, so if you have any questions for Corey, here's how you get a hold of him. I think this has been really interesting, and thank you so much for offering that to our viewers. So you're not going to spam them. You're not going to be, awful to them. You're just going to send this nice thing to them.
No,
that's
no,
great.
Yeah, no obligation. Just it's helpful, it's useful, and if you can get something out of it, that would be great.
Okay, super. Well, yeah, and I think it's really a great idea. So for those who want to start using your best and highest and best use of your time, I think this journal might be the thing that might just at least get you started. So get a hold of Corey and get that, and at least get a basis. And I think that's a great idea. So thank you, Corey, so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for offering that. That's really swell. So get a hold of Corey if you have questions. Buy the book if you're interested. I don't get any commission. I'm just being sweet. I'm being kind. And here's my information. So if I can be of service to anybody, if you have any questions, give me a call or drop me an email. And that's CoachDanaInspires.com. So thank you so much. Thank you to my special guest, Corey Murphy, and Aloha Money Machine. It's a great book, good reading. So thanks everybody for being here, and we'll see you next Tuesday on Business Inspiration. Thanks, Corey. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Take care.